Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to take a look at the EZA or the Extreme Z battle for the Strength Mystic Gohan or Ultimate Gohan. So this is a new Extreme Z battle. This is the Hidden Power Unleashed Ultimate Gohan Extreme Z battle, and we're going to take a look at how best to take it on. Obviously, in terms of the requirements for the stage, it's going to be Extreme AGL, and it looks like it's Majin Buu Saga. As with most Extreme Z battles, you cannot use continues, you cannot use units of the same name, and you cannot use support items during the battle. So in terms of units and in terms of team, I'll start off with the team I just like to use, and then the very final stage 30 I'll show you guys a very free to play friendly team. So if you want to jump across to that, you can jump across to around minute 8 in the video, and that should be able to take you there. But as I said, Extreme AGL and Majin Buu Saga category characters are going to be the #1 units to utilize here. As with most stages, you'll get 1 stone per stage. You'll also get Grand Kais of the strength variety that you can use to upgrade your Gohan. Now, in terms of Gohan's overall upgrade, it's pretty good. He got a pretty nice upgrade. He got defense, which is the main thing. He also gives superclass allies 50% defense. He gives entrusted will category allies extra attack, and he also has a high chance to guard, and once his guard does activate, he will have guard for 4 turns as well. So overall, looks like a good upgrade, but we'll see how it runs on paper with the EZA stats alongside, of course, Tech Mystic Gohan. So it's going to be a pretty strong pairing, depending on how well they mesh and how well the EZA looks like it comes out. We could be seeing a very strong Hybrid Saiyans power coupling, one that probably won't be beaten for a while. So Gohan looks really solid, and we'll take a look at obviously him in the review video at a later point. But for now, we're going to look at how to take on the stage. So the big issue here is going to be Majin Buu Saga, along with the mix of Extreme AGL. There are some good Extreme AGL Majin Buu Saga options, and there are some also ones that require you to obviously have LR summons. So in terms of kind of a good all-round kind of build, I think just follow into Extreme AGL. Look for using a unit like Super 17 as your lead, or you can use this Dabura and Babidi unit, which I do highly suggest, alongside a friend Extreme AGL Majin Vegeta. Now, of course, we can take a look at that later on, but for now, a team that I like using is Super 17 as the lead, Babidi and Dabura. We're going to use Yamu and Spopovich. We're going to use this Bukalo unit as well, the power absorption category support Bukalo, alongside the Extreme AGL Majin Vegeta. Now, there are plenty of ways to build this team. You could use someone like Full Power Frieza, you could use the brand new Cell unit, you can use any of those units, because obviously at a certain point you can kind of override the category requirement if you want to. But I'm just showing you this because this is the team that I like using the most. This team was very easy to use, very chilled to use. Vegeta did a lot of damage. The 17-18 free-to-play LR friend Android unit did a lot of damage, and overall it was very easy to do. I will be setting my friend lead to the AGL Majin Vegeta, and I suggest you take that friend lead over any Super 17 friend leads, as AGL Majin Vegeta is 120% Extreme AGL lead, and he does plenty of damage. He will be your main damage dealer overall. Babidi and Dabura do a good amount of damage early on, but remember they do drop off once you cannot seal or do any status effects to Gohan, because then you can't really activate their full passive. But they're going to be the best free-to-play lead, being a Majin Buu Saga category lead of 130%. You can get them from the Battlefield shop, and they are pretty powerful. They do have Ki +3 and attack and defense of 88%, plus an additional Ki +3 and attack and defense of 40% when the target is in attack down or defense down. We're going to jump across now to stage 10, and we're going to just take a look there. Obviously, some of the requirements have changed. Gohan can't be stunned, which is kind of a bad thing, but he can still have his attack reduced, which is good for us, and will mean that Babidi and Dabura can still do pretty high damage. You can see there's no other real changes to him, or at least any noticeable changes to him at this point. and we're going to be running the exact same team. Like I said, wherever possible, you want to take a Majin Vegeta as lead, or you can take another Dabura and Babidi if someone's put them as your friend lead. But I would suggest taking another Majin Vegeta. He just does way more damage than any other unit, because with just his 12 key, he's basically doing like 2 or 3 million damage for the most part, and he's just really strong. You know, he's just very strong. So I would suggest bringing him along. You shouldn't really have too many issues. You can pretty highly rely on his damage, so that's a really good part. Try and find him as your friend lead. He is the #1 choice. In terms of the rest of the team, most of them are pretty solid options. You know, if we take a look, you can use pretty much anyone from the Majin Buu saga. You'll see that my team at the end, which is a much friendlier team for free-to-play players, does have some super units in it. So super units are not bad, but I would stick to super AGL type units wherever possible, just to prevent that kind of, just to prevent like type disadvantage super attacks, or even type neutral super attacks, because EZA's for DFE units can still hit pretty hard, and I would be very wary of that. In terms of the units, Yamu and Spopovich are very solid units. They're very strong, they heal, they can get stronger throughout the fight, and generally speaking they were a very impressive unit. Bukalo was also relatively strong as well, his evasion coming in handy. The extreme AGL Kid Buu honestly wasn't too great, although the friend strength Kid Buu you can use at a lot of portions was pretty good. The LR friend androids under the Super 17 lead did very well, and honestly did a good amount of workload. You can use a strength Kid Buu lead friend where you want to. He will be very solid. Being a Majin Buu Saga category lead as well, he should cover most of your bases. If you are obviously using Super 17 as your lead, don't do that. If you're using Buu and Dabura, he'll be more than fine. He won't deal as much damage as you can imagine him dealing, because he doesn't have type advantage, but he'll be more than fine, and is another great unit to use. He'll also buff the rest of your team, so yeah, overall pretty strong options. I think the biggest issue that you will have, or at least the biggest issue I had, was consistently finding leads. You'll even notice in this video that I switched from like AGL Majin Vegeta to Tech, Janemba to using other Super 17s, and it was just a really big mess in terms of leads. I even used a Int Vegeta for the final stage of this video, and I think that's just a sign of the Extreme Z battle itself being relatively new. I don't think a lot of people have had time to set their friend leads appropriately, nor do I think a lot of people are taking it on with different strategies, which is also good. Some people are probably running full Majin Buu Saga only based teams like I use at the end. Some people are probably running full Extreme AGL teams like I use in the beginning. So I think for the most part, a lot of people are still just deciding what team they want to run best and what team they want to utilize best to complete the stages. But I think overall, as long as you follow the principles of this team or of my final team, you should be more than fine. Like, you'll be more than okay as a unit, or as a, like your team as a unit will be more than fine, and I don't think you'll have too many issues overall. But that is stage 20 done, so we'll now take a look obviously at the final stage, which is stage 30, and we'll see how we go in that stage. Like I said, we are going to change up the team build a little bit. So obviously Gohan can't be sealed, he can't have his attack and defense lowered, he can't be stunned, as is traditional with all Extreme Z battles. And what we're going to do is we're going to change up the team, so the team is only Majin Buu Saga based. We're also going to remove the summonable LR AGL Majin Vegeta, just so you guys can see that it is possible. We're also going to remove the Super Android 17 so that we can also see that it's possible. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a free-to-play Hercule and Buu unit. They are Majin Buu Saga category support. And we're also going to be using a AGL Goku. Now the AGL Goku is actually very solid. He provides a lot of healing, so he's going to be very helpful in that sense. And because of this, we're going to be using a full-on int Majin Vegeta. However, as I said previously, Extreme Majin Vegeta, Extreme AGL Majin Vegeta will still actually be the best lead because he is still a Super AGL lead type. So honestly, he's still overall the best lead even when running this team, and he'll still do way more damage than any of the units that we have on this team at any given point. So he'll do way more damage overall because he fits both type requirements. He's going to do some crazy damage. So I would highly suggest still going with him. But for the most part, this team does perfectly fine. It does take a little bit of time to get going. Like I said before, Yamu and Spopovich are a great unit, but they do take a little bit of time really to kind of get into their groove. So obviously you want to make sure that you can get them going. Bukalo is more than fine the whole way through. He's not really a problem. This Vegeta, the Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, is also not an issue. He doesn't take any damage as well, so he's more than fine. The Babidi and Dabura, again, perfectly acceptable units. You can see here that I'm using the Goku's ability to heal. I'm also making sure that I get him orbs as well. The reason I'm moving Babidi and Dabura onto the other rotation is so they can link up with Yamu and Spopovich, because that is generally just a better kind of running partner for them. Leaving Goku on will also let me create orbs. We've got Vegeta here. Vegeta is going to be okay, although he doesn't necessarily do spectacular damage. But int typing's not too reduced against Gohan, so int is not one of the typings that is reduced. So int Vegeta still does a very, very decent amount of damage as well. So overall the team run is very, very smooth. Honestly, didn't really have that many issues, even with this slightly reduced free-to-play team. And in some ways it ran smoother just through the whole linking process. But either team that you use will be fine. Again, ideally you have Extreme AGL Majin Vegeta, your friend has Extreme AGL Majin Vegeta, and hey, you can, use both of those and kind of run the best team possible. That would be the most ideal situation, but it's not necessarily the most plausible situation. So yeah, that is kind of the #1 policy, but we're not going to be able to get that done, at least not here exactly, but you can do it yourself. I'm sure I've given you enough decent options for you to take a look at, so I'm sure you'll be more than fine. I think, based off of the teams I've shown you and the units I've shown you, I'm sure you guys have more than a good idea of what's needed, more than a good idea of what runs really, really well. There are a lot of great AGL free-to-play options. Yamu and Spopovich, Hercule and Boo, Boo and Dabura, so there's plenty of great AGL units to kind of carry through here and utilize. That won't let you down, and there's plenty of decent Majin Buu Saga units that you can utilize as well, so you should be more than fine, more than good to go. So I hope that this video kind of helped you guys out in terms of just like what you want to do, or what what maybe you're thinking in terms of a team point of view. It's very, like I said, it's very straightforward, very, very simple stuff. Gohan's EZA looks pretty good, and we'll take a look at that in another video. Like I said, he's a kind of unit who people don't really like because he has conditions that are based on other parts of his passive. So we'll see what that means for his teams and what that means for him as a unit, but it is one of those things with him. He can, generally speaking, kind of cause himself some issues because he has parts of his passive that are dependent on other parts proccing. Like if you don't get your guard to activate, will Gohan be that good? Don't know, we'll have to see. But for the most part, yeah, very interested to see how he does as a unit, and I'm sure we'll be more than fine. So yeah, overall, pretty straightforward Extreme Z battle, wasn't too difficult at all. There were some missions, it took a little while. I think that's probably the only thing I'd note, that it did take a little while, probably because of the switching with leads and stuff like that. Like when I had Tech Janemba, it took a really long time compared to when I had double AGL Majin Vegetas and stuff like that. So in terms of missions, obviously the stock standard, same missions as always. We'll go through them now. You can see we completed all of them. But completing stage 10 or higher at 1 minute 40 seconds, stage 20 or higher with Majin Buu Saga category units, or stage 20 or higher at 2 minutes, all done. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So can you farm the stage? Probably. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like or leave a comment and I'll reply back. But bye.